Okay, my friends, thank you for joining me on the occasion of my 200th video. Now, that might not be a big deal for all of these people who do the daily news videos and what have you, but it's taken me over 8 years to get here. So, I'm quite chuffed to have made 200. I worked it out. I did a bit of maths, and I think it works out. I've done about one video every fortnight. That was a lot less in the early days. I used to do one a month. And now I do one, hopefully better than once a fortnight. Actually, just a little bit of history of the channel very quickly. I never intended it to be a channel at all. I did 5 videos about my passion at the time, which was PS3 collectors and limited editions. So I give it, just put them up for bit of education for people to let them know what's out there, and I thought if I get 50 views, I'll be happy. But it did quite better than that, and I did another one or two, and then I did one on steelbooks, and that really took off because steelbooks are a very popular subject on eBay apparently. And so that's when I decided to look around and see all the stuff I had, and thought, okay, well, we can make a collecting channel out of it. I suppose the thing that's made me most happy is the fact that it's a very, very eclectic channel. There's lots of different content on it because I collect lots of different things. So yeah, that's a brief history of how we got here. Now today, I thought about, what to do that was slightly different. And what I've done is I've picked out 10 items in my collection that I think are fairly rare or very scarce. Let's put it another way. There are some stuff that's genuinely rare. And I'll go through these 10 items. It makes me laugh actually when you see on eBay these people who put their item down as very rare, and then you see about 6 more instances of them down below. Very rare to me is something that comes up on eBay about once every blue moon. I'm very careful about using the word rare. To me, that's something that comes up on eBay not very often at all. So we'll not waste any more time. We'll after I've had a guzzle of coffee, we'll get cracking. Now I've separated these into scarce, which is stuff you might see once or twice a year. Very scarce, which maybe once every 18 months, and then rare, which is stuff I don't think you'll find, if at all, anytime soon, as I said in the title. So we'll start off with some stuff that is I would classify as scarce. Now, I had to send away to America for these. They originally came as an offer in Jim Steranko's Media Scene magazine, and being a big fan of the pulps at the time, I decided that I would send away for them. And what you get basically inside is, I have shown these before, but they just happen to be appropriate to this video. You get a little membership card, which I haven't signed, Doc Savage, and you get a nice badge, and you get an official index to all of the pulp mags that were released, and then last but not least, you get a little history. It folds out into 4 pieces. So, yeah, as I say, you had to send away from these. Now, I would imagine these are not overly scarce in America, but in this country, I've never seen many examples of these online, and when I'm talking about rare and scarce in this video, I'm talking about stuff in this country, basically. And you also got one for the Shadow, one of my favourite heroes, which is very similar, except I've written on it, so that will reduce its value. In actual fact, two of the questions I most often get asked is, "What's is outside of the channel? Is what's your collection worth?" My answer to that is don't care, don't know, because I'm only interested in content, not value. And then the other one is what are the rarest? Have you got any rare items? Which I say not many, but I do have a few that are not going to be listed on eBay for a year or two or three. Right, so moving on to, I'll just deal with this one because it's the other sort of like scarce one. Philip K. Dick bibliography. Now I have seen instances of this on eBay and they're very expensive, but they don't turn up too often, and they don't turn up in mint condition like this one. I mean, I've had this for many years and I keep all my stuff, you know, as minty as I can. And this is basically what it says, just a big bibliography of Dick's work, and he's done a lot before he died. You know, he did an awful lot of novels, short stories, and you know, this is one of them items that if you were looking for it, you might struggle. And it's one item that you know, I've been proud to keep over the years. Right, now we move on to stuff that is slightly more scarce. Actually, there are two items that I was going to present in this video that, the fact of the matter is, I can't find them. I mean, that's the problem of having a house full of stuff. You know, sometimes you just can't put your hand on something. And I was going to show you a nice steelbook, which is quite rare. But instead, I found this tin. Now, what this Brothers in Arms wrote, Deal 32, I mean, it wasn't a massive selling game, and this was a pre-order. And weren't many printed, weren't many distributed. Basically, what you got was a little sort of storyline booklet with some illustrations in, and get to it. You got this little pack of postcards. I'll not be too much bother to get them out and show you what's in there. I haven't said that. these tight plastic bags are always a pain in the backside. Yeah, so you know, just a few nice little scenes of war, I presume. I don't know if this is, no, it's not. It's sort of like official maps and documents and what have you. By the look of it, I don't think this is from in-game. There's a few aerial shots. Very unusual. I thought, and there's an intro to the game from Gearbox Software. Oh, there's something else there as well. Just another one of the postcards with some confidential writing on it. So yeah, as I say, that you won't see that very often, simply because it wasn't that popular a game, and I don't know if there were many people actually pre-ordered it, but there were not many of them printed. Let's get this back together again. That was the inside of the box. So you can see it's like a debossed box, and there's your limited edition disc inside. So yeah, that was that one. Now, another item that I would classify as scarce is something you see on my videos every week. It's on the fireplace behind us. It's the gun from the game Bayonetta that Bayonetta uses. Comes on this, this nice little stand. Show it you better. And there's the gun itself. I mean, it's not the best sculpt I've ever seen, but quite striking in colour and design. And that was a pre-order. There's a little bit of a story behind that one. It was a pre-order from Game UK. And it was a very, very sort of time-limited pre-order. You didn't have long to actually get it. And it's one of the only pre-orders I've made where the pre-order item came after the game, which was rather odd. But yeah, I haven't got the box it came in, but I've had it displayed behind me for a few years now. Oh, excuse me while I guzzle some coffee. Right, next we have some items that are, I would say, are very scarce. I've been looking for the second issue of this for Donkey's Yonks. It's a Flash Gordon fanzine, but it's a high quality one. It's printed on glossy paper. It has artwork by people like Wally Wood there, and it's a real nice book. It hails from, this is volume 1, number 1B. I've been looking for 1A since forevermore, and this is 40 years old now, so I've kept it in almost mint condition. But finding that other one has been an absolute pain. And while I've been looking for it for the last, God knows how many years, I have seen one other instance of that. So, it's very scarce to rare, really. And so it's got some very nice artwork inside. People like Al Williamson there. Buster Crabbe, of course, who played Flash Gordon in the serial. So yeah, that's an item that I would definitely consider to be something you won't find anytime soon. Same applies to these, or the one I'm missing at least. Right, what we have here is a series of 3 here, but it was a series of 4 books by Vaughan Baudet, is it Baudet? That he did way back in the 70s. Of course, he died very young. And yeah, I've got issues 2, 3, and 4. And I've been looking for number 1, much like the Flash Gordon fanzine there. Been looking for donkey's years for number 1. And in actual fact, the other 3 I've very rarely seen copies of. So yeah, that's another. I'll just show you the artwork inside. Typical Baudet, sort of like comedy artwork. But yeah, very popular in his day. But yeah, I would say those are very scarce in my view, in my experience at least. Okay, now when you collect, you do tend to move into the realms of niche items. Now, I've been a collector of gaming magazines since the 70s, late 70s, and sorry, the late 80s, middle to late 80s. And there are, apart from myself, obviously, there are quite a lot of people out there who collect magazines. I've got complete runs of some of the old PS2 and 3 magazines, which are quite desirable to people. But this one is a bit of an oddity. It's a Japanese magazine called Gamist, from, as you can see there, 1997. Now, I bought one of these on a trip to London to the Tokyo Japan Centre, I think it is, in Piccadilly Circus. And what this is, it's a Japanese magazine about arcade machines, which are a great passion of mine. And around about this time, you couldn't find any material on arcade machines at all. The magazine did the odd piece, but there wasn't much on the net was sort of in its infancy as far as gaming was concerned, and it was hard to find, and I spotted this. Now, obviously it's all in Japanese, but what it has is some nice advertising stuff like that for a game called Racing Jam, and then inside you would find nice full-page posters from Raiden Fighters, which of course was great interest to me being a shmups fan. And there was just there's Iron Hand, the famous PS1 shooter. And this was this was gold dust to me, because it's somewhere where I could go and see pictures. I couldn't read it, but see pictures of arcade machines and such. Now, I took out a subscription for a year, so I've got one I bought and 12 of these, so I've got 13 of them from around this date. And just out of curiosity, I keep looking to see if any more of them come up, but no luck. So over the many years I've been looking, I've never ever seen one on eBay UK. So I guess that makes it rare. As I say, it's a bit of a niche item, but rare's rare. It's something that interests me, and certainly something that I would like to find some more of. They probably cost me a fortune, but those were quite expensive. They're about, back in '97, they were, about 15 quid each. But that's what you have to pay for Japanese magazines of quality. Right, now we're moving now into the three rarest items that I own. I'll leave the absolute rarest until last, of course. But we'll have a look at this one first. I've shown this before when I did a video about comic book hardbacks. Right, this is Bernie Wrightson's A Look Back. Massive tome, very heavy. My arms are dropping off just holding it here. And of course it's a retrospective of all Bernie Wrightson's stuff up until when this was printed. Which is, I'll just have a quick look out of curiosity when it was published. Where are we? 1979. That's quite old. Now, when I saw this in a science fiction bookshop, actually, I looked at it, thought, that looks nice, I bet that costs a fortune. So I asked the bloke, and he said 4 quid. I said, what? I said, what's the matter with it? He said it's got 4 pages out of sequence. It's a misprint. So I said, I don't care. Here's your 4 quid. I'll have it. Since then, excuse me, I've discovered that there are collectors out there for misprinted books. The most famous one is for very first edition of very first printing of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. There are some errors in it that makes it a misprint. It goes for thousands. So I say there are collectors out there. I know for a fact. I've seen articles. And yeah, you buy this online now, you could be looking at 3 figures for a decent one. I mean, this is not in bad nick. You know, it's a little bit worn at top and bottom of spine, but overall, you know, I'd classify it as very good to find. And yeah, so I mean, a misprint of a book like that to a collector would be something else. I mean, I've seen plenty of the books online, but I've never seen the misprinted one. And I wouldn't have known it was a misprint if the guy hadn't have said, look, you can have it for £4. He needn't have told me that because I wouldn't have known. But yeah, nice item. Right, now you all know of my fondness for the game Destiny, which I play a lot. And I collect a lot as well. And any of you saw my last box opening of the Lightfall Special Edition would have seen my Destiny wall to my right here. And when it comes to Destiny, I'm always looking for advertising items because they tend to be the rarest and the scarcest. Now I have a couple of standees from game shops upstairs, which are scarce. You don't see them very often and expensive. I've got a couple of cubes. I'm actually resting on one right now. A couple of cubes from game shops where they advertise the game. You know, multi-sided cubes. And I've got, you know, some other various bits and pieces that people have given me that I know in shops. But this one that I bought on eBay, I'm on eBay every couple of days looking for Destiny stuff. I've been collecting for 6 years, 7 years, and I've never seen one of these. It's obviously an advertising item with a 3D ghost. Now, anybody who plays the game will know what a ghost is. Some of you might not. A lot of you who don't play the game won't. But basically, you had to put this together yourself. I didn't, my daughter did. And I mean, I got round a few places looking for steelbooks and when I was into them, gaming stuff, and I never saw one of these. And I don't know when this is from, it's Destiny 2, so it'll be from the last, 5 years. I've never seen one online at all, never. So that is genuine rarity. And as part of my Destiny 2 collection, I'm very proud of it. It didn't cost me much at all. You very often find that, you know, some of the rarest stuff is quite cheap. Right, now we come to my pride and joy. I'll just have a guzz before I show you these. This is a genuine cast iron brick wall solid rarity. I'm going to show you that, or they are. Right, in 1976, let's give you a brief history of it. 1976, the American fantasist Hal Nelson came to this country and he was here to promote 2 of his books, 2 hardcover books. And his shtick, if you like, his performance piece was, in America, had been sitting in comic books, bookshop windows, writing a story from scratch. And he did this quite a lot in the States. And And when he came here, he was here. He was in this shop promoting the book for 3 days. He sat in the shop window. After, you know, I mean, obviously a few people talked to him, and after that, he got that out of the way. He would say, right, enough's enough. I'm going to write my stories now. And he wrote 3 stories, one each day, in the shop window. And all of these stories were eventually published in the magazine of fantasy and science fiction. Now, the deal was, if you bought both the books, then you would be entitled to a photocopy of the finished script that was actually being sent off to the publisher, which, you know, is rather strange because everybody gets to read it before it's published. Some unscrupulous people might try and pass it off as their own work. And I was in the shop one day when they were running these photocopies off, and there were no more than 20 printed on the photocopier. And the deal was, you bought the books, you came back, day 1, 2 and 3, and they would give you a copy of that day's story and take it over to Harlan Ellison. He would sign it. Now, I was this absolute disciple of Harlan Ellison at the time, so this was magic to me. And as I say, there are only, I would imagine, 20 copies done, and how many of those have managed to stay whole or have survived the last, nearly 50 years? I don't think there are many of these around, and if there are, I would imagine that they're in the hands of collectors like me. And at a guess, I wouldn't say there's more than a half a dozen to 10 each of these. And so I will show you what it is that is my number 1 collectible. Okay, so you can see there, Harlan Ellison signed it. That's actually signed for me. And that is the first page of the manuscript. It has his phone number and his address on, which is something that he would only give to friends and his publishing contacts, you know. And I thought it was a very strange thing for him to do. I don't know whether he'd done this in America, but I mean, he's only been to this country and done it once, so it's certainly a novelty over here. And then inside, that's his actual manuscript, as you can see. As I say, this is exactly what would have been posted off to the magazine of fantasy and science fiction. And as you can see, there are, if you look in the middle there, you can see there are error corrections there. And I mean, this is just gold for anybody like me who collects anything to do with Harlan Ellison. And you know, if in the unlikely event that I ever sold those on eBay, I'd be looking for a lot of money. There was that one I showed you. There was Emissary from Hamelin. Again, because we had quite a big chat, me and Harlan. And then there was Working with the Little People. Yeah, so that's it, folks. That's my top 10 collectible items that you won't see on eBay very soon at all. And I'm just coming up to the 30 minutes now, which is about the limit I can do without having to splice the thing. So I hope you enjoyed that one. I will be back shortly with an unboxing of a switch 'em up. And so thank you very much for watching all these years and subscribing and commenting and sharing. And I will see you very soon. Bye-bye now.